Just to start off, how would you describe your coaching philosophy?
Well, this group, no, it's. I've been saying all year long that I have enjoyed coaching this team. You want, you try to show them the whole, then teach the parts. You want them to understand. Probably I say too much to them sometimes because I want them to be smart on the floor to understand what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, instead of just being a dictatorship and say, do this. So I think that's always been a little bit of my coaching style because I didn't like that as a player. There's a time and place where you have to do what we say only, and we can talk about it later. But I think if you're in practice and you're teaching, you don't need to be screaming. You don't need to be, you need to be like teaching your philosophy, what you're doing, getting them to explain it. And if they're frustrated sometimes or they look lost, you have to go back and think, well, what was I doing? Did I explain that clearly? Because I think sometimes we demand a lot out of these guys, and, we either talk too fast or give too many points. You have to sometimes sit back and collectively go, all right, was that something they really don't understand, or, do we need to explain that? So I think that's me. I teach the whole, break it up into parts, and try to, teach them and coach them up, and not just screaming. I'll get after them, but.
If I was the father of a potential recruit, what do you use to sell the Hofstra experience?
Yeah, well, we're going to really care what you do on and off the court. We're really trying to build the person. It isn't just about what you're providing to me with win-losing games. It matters to my entire coaching staff because we're just not in it for that kind of job. That's not fulfilling enough for all of us that, you could be, your character could be shaky, you could be this, you could be that, but yet you're, producing 20 and 10 every night. A lot of folks have a different way. They turn their head and, they say one thing, but I think we really do that. I think we follow. If any parents want to come play for us that have raised their kids, and they want to continue having those same types of values and that same type of character and please or thank yous and how we look and what perception is, what people think about us. That to me, I'm not going to just collect a paycheck and then just put a product out there that, that doesn't represent.
They say that the player often makes the coach.
Mm-hmm.
What were your experiences as a player that influenced you as a coach?
Yeah, well, I always say great players make plays, and that's a big thing. And I played on a team that had great players. When I played at NC State, I just had to get the rebound and get it to the right players, and I had no problem with that because we won, and we won a lot. So, I think I had the luxury. We had a complete competitive mentality, and, we just didn't do things to get by. And I think that is just unfortunate sometimes that everybody's just doing the least amount of effort, to put that, to put it out. And I think that's what we're fighting with this generation sometimes. It's like, do that one more, go that extra mile. And that's what you're pulling out of people, because it's just sometimes kids can be uber talented and they could do just this much to get by. And they're better than good 20, 30, 50% of the population, So I just think that's what separated my years at NC State was we had some extremely talented players, and then we just had a relentlessness about ourselves. And the late, great, Coach K. Yao kind of pushed that out of everybody, and our mentality was so different. And we weren't, now our top players was definitely as good as today's top players. Andrew Stinson was probably one of the best players in the nation, but the rest of us, like myself, we just worked hard, and we were consummate team players, and, certainly weren't as talented as my players are, today. So, but our mentality was like so different, so much tougher. So I think that's the thing that drives me a little bit crazy. I've had to settle a little too much over the years, of just trying to find kids that are tough enough that can, go the distance.
You mentioned Coach Yao. Who were some of your other coaching influences?
My biggest one was actually my high school coach. I just talked to him last week, Coach Jim Waller. He was at Fayette County High School, went to Woodward Academy, won like 4 state championships there. We played in the Final Four my senior year, so we were kind of just the tip of his success, or the beginning of his success. But he was the consummate on little things. Like he just followed Dean Smith like to a T. We ran our 33 run and jump. We had tenacious man-to-man defense. It was crazy. And I was taught so many little things from footwork, from triple threat. And you come in here, and I have kids for a couple years that really don't have. I'm trying to do a better job of recruiting kids from programs that their coaches are just that well. I felt Kelly Loftus' coach did a great job. I thought Ashanae Durant's coach, but also her AAU coach, did a lot of those little things. So you're not having to come and go back from scratch and have to start all over. So it's just the discipline, the self-discipline, and the small, I always tell the kids the game is pretty small. So how you close out, how you can lock somebody down, your footwork, some of those things are just vital, and these kids don't have those basic fundamentals as much anymore. There's programs that do it, certainly are, but they're a little more few and far between.
This year, you're looking at a roster with no seniors on it. What challenges does that present for you?
I mean, it is. It's you're waiting for leadership to step up. You really can't just delegate it as much as you're trying to kind of really push people out of the nest. We have some folks that can do it that just, for whatever reason, might not, step up all the time yet, but they're going to have to. And so I think, we talk about leadership by committee, but you still have to have that one person when you're struggling that's really going to, try to motivate. So we have those people. They just need to really make a decision that they, not going to just sit here and take it. They're going to really, do what they're capable of doing.
How do you encourage leadership to emerge in a person?
A lot of gentle nudging. It's an interesting. I mean, it's probably one of the toughest things in our business now. That's why there's leadership academies. There's leadership curriculum. I think North Carolina actually started one of the first leadership curriculums. I know that we are dabbling about it here at Hofstra, trying to see if we're going to bring that in. I think it's an important asset. I think it's something that needs, it needs to be taught and nurtured. I mean, I think, so we do have people that are born leaders that have just that ability to step through, but I think more and more of that is a little bit less. And if you talk to the military, I used to spend a lot of time with our ROTC here, they're dying in the same frame of trying to find people that, want to be leaders. And a lot of kids just don't want to ruffle the feathers or really step up and, say, hey, this isn't right. I mean, that takes a lot of confidence. You really have to be very sure with yourself. And so there's so many different areas about leadership, and it's something that you really need a full-time person to, to teach leadership. And that's why we brought in groups. We have done different types of activities and team buildings, and we've done everything you can think of over the sun to try to nurture that. So I think some of the people are speaking up. I mean, today you could hear the voices, and I just think with confidence and continue of game experience, that's going to continue to emerge.
A lot of newcomers on this team. Who are some of them who can make an impact right away?
It's been a nice surprise with the freshman, Aliana Leon. She had a really good scrimmage, keeping our fingers and toes crossed with Darius Falk. I mean, hopefully, if she gets cleared, all that will work out. She could help a lot with that type of experience. I think our sophomores are really stepping up their role. Alo Itafaroka, Kelly Loftus, and Crystal. I mean, they're going to be leaned upon like crazy as freshmen from last year moving forward. So, so the bright spots, I think Jaquel Gilchrist has had a good preseason, so she's got to continue to get stronger. It's probably one of the things that she's got to keep doing. But, so I think out of the newcomers, Aliana Leon and Ashane Durant is probably an extremely talented young lady here in our program, probably one of the tops again, that has just really God-given physical strength, a real smartness to the game, and real good body control. So it's going to be fun to watch her emerge.
As far as women's college athletics are concerned, I mean, since Title IX come so very far, how do you compare the state of women's college athletics today to your days as a player? And
that's a really good question. I mean, it is. It's two sides. You don't want to get on a soapbox because I think kids are more talented. The game is much more faster. It's more enjoyable. I think like anyone, whether it's Title IX or if it's civil rights or sometimes as generations pass, they don't appreciate kind of where it came from, and I think that is human nature. I think we have to do a good job as a coaching staff and the program of explaining, the opportunities that we have, and don't flush them away because people fought hard. They fought hard to give you equal playing field as much as possible, and so I think. I think there's a lot of fear factor stuff. They've made comments about women's basketball and which direction we had. We had this huge white paper that was put together, for where are we going to go in the next, 20 years, with our sport. And, so I think I would, not be provide enough intelligent conversation to tell you where we're going to go. But for me personally, the growth of it has been amazing. I mean, kids are doing things that we can never even dream about, from their athleticism, from their skill set, playing at such an early age, So I think our program, I think women's basketball is in great shape. I just think the kids need to appreciate what has been given to them so much more. I think that's probably the thing that kind of pulls at me the most is, we do have to fight hard, and we do have to play twice as good as the men. We have to have, I used to always, when I was a high school coach, I used to say, you need to play well, take care of the ball, limit your turnovers, pass well. You have to present a better product, for us to be looked at. And I still think that, Coach Al used to always talk about, our passing, the ball handling on the women's side. That's what people don't want to watch. They don't want to cut a TV on and watch a game of 28 to 35 turnovers, and the pace of the game is like a snail's pace. So I think that our organization, the WBCA, has been trying to be thinkers ahead, to try to continue to grow our game. And I think that's where we are. Our state of the game is, how do we grow it? How do we push it forward? How do we continue with the grassroots and and getting people to understand that we need to appreciate what we have.
You're closing in on a decade here. Mm-hmm. What are you most proud of?
I'm proud that we have built a program, that if somebody came in, it wouldn't be pieces falling apart. That it's very respectable for Hofstra University. We're teetering in that top 4 every year. But none of us are satisfied. I mean, we like to be at the top. I mean, I think, but to know that you're not hanging around bottom 9 or bottom 10. I mean, you've really, after that second year when we were building, you've really tried to maintain, but we just haven't gotten over the hump yet. I think I keep saying I'm very excited about this year. I know it's going to be a growth spurt with us this year. Give us in 5 weeks, you're going to see a totally different team. But we just got to survive this beginning part of all of this teaching and all of this, consistency that you're trying to get these guys to see. And, so that's the stuff that, that's wearing you out a little bit. But I feel like, 10 years in our program, we've built a strong base, and now that building blocks is now it's time to kind of reach that pinnacle. To me, I've given myself a short leash. Like, come on, we need to make a bigger splash than we ever made this year, and then move forward, in the coming years.
Last question.
Yeah.
2 fearless predictions for this season.
Playing in the final championship game. I mean, so many tough roads ahead of us. I mean, coaches are really good in our league. And those teams have gotten better. So the teams that we beat are going to be getting a lot better. The William & Marys, the Northeasterns, all the cross board, the Wilmingtons. And then you got to contend to all the other big dogs on the other end. So a fearless prediction would be, playing in that final game. And then, a couple big road wins would be really good, like Virginia Tech. That'd be a nice little, but it's going to take a lot of effort for that one. So playing that final game and getting some type of bid would be really good with this young team.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys.